Well, my name is Brian Lacey, and I'm originally from Dublin, but I've been living and working around Donegal for, 45 years or so, between Donegal and Derry. And about 18 months ago, I came to live here permanently. I'd been spending an awful lot of time up here. And so I came to live in this absolutely beautiful place. This is Dunlewey, the fort of the god Lugh. And this whole area of Western Donegal, Gweedore and Cloughaneely, the two neighbouring parishes, um, there's an awful lot of lore in the area about the god Lugh, the ancient god Lugh, and his conflict with the god Balor. And Lugh probably lived behind me up here on Errigal Mountain in the tradition, and Balor lived out on Tory Island. And they're like the kind of North Pole and South Pole of the area. They kind of confront each other, the mountain and the island. And I say one is the bad god Balor, and here we have the good god Lugh. And then the whole valley is Dunlewey, the valley of the Fort of Lugh. And one of the interesting things, although we're about as far west in Ireland as you can get here in northwest Donegal, Dunluchia means exactly the same thing as the name of the city of Lyon, right in the centre of France. And that's kind of a bit unusual because Lyon meant the fort of the god Lugh as well. And Lugh, the god Lugh was widespread, honoured all over Western Europe, in Ireland, throughout Ireland and Britain, and in many parts of Western Europe. And if you like, one of the great centres, the sort of Vatican, if you like, of the god Lugh religion was in what is now the city of Lyon. And it's just amusing that that the cult spread out across and reached here to the very ends of the earth, what must have been the ends of the earth at the time. And we know that we're not sure how it got here. And you know that the stories about Lugh are known all over different parts of Ireland. There are many places named after the county Louth, Lugh, and Cunda and Lugh, for instance. But there's an intensity about him, the stories here in this part of the world. The archaeology, the place names, the mythology, the folklore, all kind of, there are lots and lots and lots of stories about the god Lugh. And so this seems to have been some sort of centre of his cult. And we know that a little kingdom emerged here, which we know the name of as Shilugdach, Shield meaning the seed of, and Lugdach of Lugh. So the people, the little kingdom here, they thought of themselves as, if you like, the seeds of Lugh, or the descendants of Lugh in some strange way. And strangely, from them came the great Donegal families later on, of the O'Donnells and the O'Dohertys. So this kind of tiny, remote place in the northwest of Ireland, separated from almost from the rest of Ireland by these mountains. I mean, you know, you have to go through those mountains to get to all the other parts of Ireland. So it was a very remote place, separated by the mountains on the one side and the Atlantic Ocean on the other. And so it was a very isolated place. And yet, to here came this, if you like, Western European cult of the god Lugh. And one of the ways that it possibly came here, we're not sure, but on the coast, on the beaches along here, a number of Roman objects have been found. And in Muckish Mountain, which is in that direction, there's a deposit of white sand, which is very good for making glass. And we know that the Romans scoured Europe and scoured the world that they knew, looking for sand to make glass. And so we think that the Roman objects that are found on the beaches here may have been traded with the local people of, you know, the time, around the time of Christ, the time of Julius Caesar, that they may have traded these objects for this glass, and that might have provided, if you like, the means by which the cult of this god got here. And Julius Caesar, who wrote about Lugh, about the god Lugh, he told us that he was the equivalent of the Roman god Mercury, who was in a number of things, but he was also the god of trading and things like that. So that may be the means by which the cult got here. And as I say, there's so many stories in the area. Over there, the other end of this is Dunlewey Lake down below us here. And at the other end of that is the Poison Glen. And there's various stories about how the Poison Glen gets its name. And indeed, there's an argument whether it is the Poison Glen or not, because in Irish it's Croniva, but Niva meaning poison, but some people say that that's a mistake. It really should be Croneva, which would be heavenly valley rather than poison valley, if you like. But anyway, the story about the poison is that the evil god Balor had this evil eye, and that when he was killed, the poison oozed out of his eye and dug out all the rocks and so on, and caused the poison glen to be formed. That's one of the stories. So, as I said, the area is full of stories about Lugh, and the kingdom that emerged from that, it kind of took their name from Lugh. And I've written about this in this book here. One of the other things is that there are many stories in the area about St. Columcille. And several of those, not all of them, but many of the stories about Columcille are really Christianized versions of stories that would have been originally told about Lugh himself. And they've just become Christianized. So we know quite a bit about the origins of this little kingdom, and at least how the cult of the god was honoured here in this part of the world. There are, of course, in Donegal itself, there are many, thousands of archaeological monuments. I was involved in running the Archaeological Survey of Donegal way back in the 1970s, and we visited then about 4,000 sites, of which about 2.5 we reckoned dated to before the year 1700 AD. Now, I'm sure if you were doing that now with more modern technology and that, you'd find even a lot more. But we did this survey, and then we published a book about the survey which details all those roughly 2,500 sites. And Donegal was the first county in Ireland where this was done. And then it became a kind of a model for other counties. But one of the interesting things about the archaeology, and there are really spectacular sites in Donegal, is that Donegal, and I'd be criticising it in another sense, there has been so little development in Donegal. We've no motorways in Donegal, we've no railways in Donegal, we've no gas pipelines in Donegal. The county has been sort of neglected in many ways in those terms, but that has had, at least the ill wind of that, is that many of the ancient monuments which otherwise might have got destroyed here have survived. And so there's a real richness, archaeological richness, to add to the beauty of the place. And on top of that, the folklore, the stories about these sites survives. And so we can kind of put that all together and make a very good picture of how people have lived here for at least the last 10,000 years. I first came to work in Donegal as an archaeologist in 1974. That's 45 years ago. And all down my life, I've been working on and off here and there. And then when I retired a few years ago, I decided I was going to kind of buy a holiday home up here, because I was spending so much time coming up and down, coming up. But anyway, I bought the holiday home here in Dunlewey, just under Errigal Mountain, overlooking the lakes, beside the Glenveigh National Park. And so I bought the house in May 2018. And I came up here thinking of it as a holiday home, but I never went back. I just stayed here.